As the sun goes down, many animals seek refuge. Others become active and take advantage of the night to go unnoticed as they feed. For others, it is now when they begin to hunt. This is where my domain begins, when the great blinding star hides and darkness reigns over the land. The Bubo hispanicus is one of the 20 subspecies of eagle owls that inhabit the Eurasian continent. A strictly nocturnal animal, it is an unrivaled super predator with an ample array of prey. There is an infinite number of animals that meander under the Iberian Nights, all of them working under the same premise: to eat without being eaten. With their senses especially designed to function in total darkness, these night creatures have developed ingenious mechanisms of attack, defense, and communication, thus converting the realm of darkness into a battlefield that tests the most skilled and stealthy. Darkness and silence are my allies. Nighttime is my cover. These are my domains. The Iberian Peninsula is the westernmost habitat of the eagle owl, the most powerful nocturnal bird of prey on the planet, which inhabits Europe, North Africa, and Asia. They're viciously territorial, and they nest both in warm Mediterranean mounts and riverside badlands, and in deciduous forests and abrupt mountain ranges. This formidable 70-centimeter long and 1.8-meter wide true owl is the absolute lord of the night. Who dares interrupt my bath? A wildcat. It has been a long time since I saw one of them. The miscegenation with their domesticated cousins has lessened the purity of its species, though not its courage. Bah, we're not going to fight over a mouse. The territory of just one eagle owl can be as large as 40 square kilometers. They become fertile in the very first months of the year, when the male's mating call can be heard from great distances, marking the limits of its domain. Nocturnal birds of prey, or strigiforms, are divided into two families. The true owls, such as eagle owls, long-eared owls, or scops owls, and the Titonidae, such as the barn owl. Thanks to their characteristic facial discs, which act as receptor panels, filtering and amplifying sounds, they can hear the faintest sound and thus detect the position of their prey, especially micromammals such as moles, shrews, and mice. They usually swallow their prey whole, subjugating them with the power of their potent gastric juices. And like the rest of the nocturnal birds of prey, they regurgitate the indigestible parts of the swallowed animal in a kind of ball made up of bones and hair, known as a pellet. As the March moon grows, the raw winter comes to an end, bringing about the reproduction of many species. The wind is not a good ally for nocturnal birds of prey. It makes its stealthy and precise flight enormously difficult, which is indispensable to capture the scurrilous rodents. This long-eared owl's nest is always well supplied by the male, who delivers the spoils of its hunt to the female so that she can distribute the food equally among her chicks, always controlling who's eaten and who hasn't. In such a prolific clutch as this bird of prey's, which can lay between 1 and 6 eggs, the size differences between each chick are considerable. The older ones will soon wander along the nearby branches and even onto neighboring trees, which makes the feeding and protection processes all the more difficult for their parents. An adult long-eared owl can measure up to 35 centimeters long and is almost 1 meter wide. This species can be found throughout the north of the Eurasian continent and in North America. They are a true menace to the seasonal plagues of rodents, which they trap in open terrain and small forests among the farmlands near their nests. From March to June, they normally inhabit old abandoned corvidae nests, such as this magpie's, located in a pine tree 6 meters above ground. Their nerve and mischief are often the object of much curiosity. They constitute a delicious meal for climbing predators like this genet, although this small owl's bravery and aggressiveness scares away opportunistic intruders. The eagle owl makes its nest on rocky mounts, which give it absolute control over its surrounding territory. While the male is perched on its vantage point, the female provides warmth for the chicks, always aware of the faintest noise. That fox is here again. One can never be too careful with this old lady. She could attack the nest and finish off all our hopes for the year, and even harm my mate. I won't let this happen. If she gets too close, I'll throw her off the precipice. They fiercely mark their territory with their characteristic singing. Any intruder is harassed, and if necessary, ferociously attacked until they abandon their domain. It looks like it's retreating. We're out of danger. Their eggs hatch 2 to 3 months after they're laid, and the chicks that hatch first are clearly much more developed than those that do so later. Their mother teaches them to eat and protects them in the nest, while the male brings them food. After 3 weeks, they're able to eat and swallow alone, and the female will be less present in the nest and thus participate more actively in hunting in order to satisfy their offspring's voracious hunger. Their yelling gets progressively louder. Soon the raids will begin. Many other night creatures mark their territory and seek out a mate using special sounds and frequencies. The European tree frog is a 5-centimeter long amphibian. From the beginning of spring, in the small ponds and streams with abundant vegetation, the males attract females with their powerful singing. Their thin extremities and fingers with suckers allow them to court their mates under the cover of shrubs. Others, silent, only emerge by night from their aquatic hideout, where they spend most of their lifetime. This salamander is an Iberian ribbed newt, a voracious breed endemic to the Iberian Peninsula and North Africa, that at 30 centimeters long is the longest of its species. An army of walking frogs, like this natterjack toad, overcome just about any obstacle to ambush their preferred prey of crickets or beetles. I remember as a youth fooling around with some of these, but their slimy skin isn't edible. The common toad is the most robust, easily reaching 20 centimeters. It is an exceptionally effective hunter that preys on insects, snails, and earthworms by blending in with its surroundings and by using its elastic and sticky tongue, which it shoots out with amazing precision. Its eyesight is well adapted to the lack of light, as it can detect the most minute movement. In order to defend itself from aggression, it secretes a toxic substance from its parotid glands, located behind its eyes, making it an undesired meal for most animals. Salamanders are a genus of Urodela amphibians known as Caudatus. Their appealing coloration is aposematic, which means it serves as a warning to possible predators because of its toxicity. They're also quite unique in being able to regenerate any lost limb. They're ovoviviparous, which means that their eggs hatch inside their body, where they'll end up developing completely, feeding off their unborn sisters. This female is looking for a quiet place in which her 20 to 70 offspring will be born. They'll live in the water for the first 3 months of their lives. Almost all toads hide in order to spend the hours of sunlight in their burrows, under rocks, or digging more or less deeply, depending on the needs of the moment. To this end, the western spadefoot is uniquely dotted with especially hard nails in their hind legs, similar to spurs, which help them dig over a meter underground, where they can find humidity and protection. The night is coming to its end. Soon the darkness will give way to blinding light. I must go rest now. As dawn sets in, owls nestle in their darkest hiding places, where they won't be noticed while they sleep, although they're constantly alert and aware of everything that goes on around in their domain. Almost all living beings on the planet feed either directly or indirectly from the sun. Plants, insects, birds, reptiles, mammals, and birds of prey, whether they be diurnal or nocturnal, all of them are linked to a chain that begins with the sun. The influence of this star causes seasonal changes, marking the rhythms and behavior of all living beings. Spring gives way to an explosion of life. In a synchronized way, and as if it were a brand new dawn, plants and animals awake from the cold lethargy of the winter night. This is the largest of the finches on the Iberian Peninsula. The hawfinch measures up to 18 centimeters and feeds off the fruits of trees. Its strong beak, powered by highly developed muscles, allows it to exert a force of over 40 kilograms with which it can break through cherry seeds. Like European goldfinches and the rest of the grain eaters, it unconsciously contributes to the spreading of seeds of trees from which it feeds, thus helping them complete their biological cycle. This great saurian is the ocellated lizard, the largest of the European lizards, measuring up to 60 centimeters in length. It's heliothermic, which means that it needs the sun's energy to warm its cold blood, and thus make its muscles contract with the necessary speed to hunt or flee from its predators. Humidity condenses, forming clouds that unload on the mountains, regenerating the water cycle. From the beginning of spring, many species of birds of prey migrate from Africa, establishing their nests in the Iberian Peninsula and southern Europe. Hawks, booted eagles, short-toed snake eagles, and Bonelli's eagles. Many of them compete directly with the eagle owl, since they hunt by day in their same territory and, in general, hunt the same prey. There is a reciprocal ancestral aversion between diurnal and nocturnal birds of prey. My queen rests as she protects the nest, while I hide under a nearby home oak and watch my enemies go by. I must keep them under control at all times. The Iberian goshawk, on the other hand, is a local. There are continuous problems among them. This Accipitridae is a powerful flying hunter that preys on rabbits, hares, pigeons, magpies, and partridges, making them direct competitors, which is why they cannot tolerate each other. Nothing escapes the watch of the eagle owl, even in plain light of day. Its retina, with over 50,000 photosensitive rods, and its pupil, which can contract or dilate very quickly to compensate for changes in light, make the owl's eyes a marvel of evolution. We like quiet places with plenty of prey. Gulches in rocky and inaccessible mounts, with close-by vantage points from which we can control our dominions. We alternate places each year, settling on one side or the other of the gorge for reasons of security. We'll settle for any reasonably protected ledge. We don't build a nest when our chicks are still vulnerable so as not to attract attention. As the afternoon goes by, rabbits begin to leave their burrows. The youngest are always the most confident. These lagomorphs spend the hottest hours of the day in long and complex subterranean galleries excavated by their own for generations. When the temperature goes down, they come out to feed on legumes, true grasses, roots, seeds, and bulbs, transforming the energy that the plants get from the sun into meat. They themselves constitute an important source of food for many others, especially for large birds of prey such as the eagle owl, the golden eagle, the Benelli's eagle, and the goshawk.